Okay, and 1 second, we'll get started. I need my yellow glasses. Do not know where they are. Okay. There they are. Lights out. And let's get ready to have a great trading day. Let me make sure I share the link with everyone to get in the room. Okay. And I will post that on the Slack channel. Great. There we go. And I'll put it on the Twitter stream for those who want it. Maybe I won't. There we go. Okay, let's roll. So just real quick here. Sorry, I am lagging behind by just a second. Desktop. Legal. There we go. So the fun disclaimer to start the day. So good morning. My name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching, toughtrader.com. Important note, past performance is not indicative of future results, right? This is for educational purposes only. Trading derivatives comes with substantial risk. If you are not comfortable with that risk, if you cannot afford to lose money, don't trade. Pretty straightforward. You do lose money trading. Even if you're a successful trader, you will lose money trading at one point or another. To address, I need to address an issue shortly after the open with John. I do not have my points of control on this chart. I do have them on another chart, so I may have to temporarily hijack my other computer to get the points of control, or just I'll point it out when they close above or below. I don't know what else to say other than, actually, you know what? I do know what else to say. Hold on a second. File, new instance. There we go. That'll get going in just a second, and I can do this. File, open chart book. Let's see if I have this anywhere on here. Oh, that's really freaking old. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Hold on a sec. Folder. We will use none of that is recent. Modified date. We will use Q. Let's try this one, see how that works out. And chart settings. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works any better. Hold on 1 second here. Here, this one works. There we go. So we'll just use this one instead. There we go. Problem solved. Out with this one, in with that one. Don't ask me why one's working and the other one isn't, but problem solved. Who cares? Okay, so let's get started. I apologize. Let's jump in. And let's erase all lines here. Let's see, window. I spent an hour trying to figure that out last night. Had I known all I had to do was that, I would have fixed it a long time ago. Where is my erase all lines? I don't have it, so that's all right. I can just do it all around here. There we go. Okay, let's hit file and save and roll. Okay, so number one, let us look for the, there we are. Let's start with the profile and work our way backwards. So number one, a couple things. NQ had a trend day up yesterday. Really, really important that you realize that. I want to say it again. NQ had a trend day up. Um, so why is that? Why is that important? Because NQ's been lagging ES. ES is at new highs. NQ isn't. Here, I'll show you the chart on NQ so you can see the same thing, which is this chart right here. Let's see if I can find it. We'll just change this chart settings. Ah, there we are. So why does that look odd? There's a problem here. Sorry, guys. This is on another chart. There's got to be a time problem or an evening session issue because I have data here that is incorrect. Let's try something here real quick. Advanced settings, automatically roll over, volume-based rollover. Okay. That is still wholly incorrect. There's no way that is the chart. That is no way there's a profile. This is, but why this is up makes zero sense whatsoever. It's not using a 24-hour session. We are going to throw this chart away. Something is wrong with it. I will figure it out in a little bit. Okay, here I have the other one. The other NQ chart should be just fine. So let me find that. NQZ, ES. Oh, I see what the problem is. ES 618. And we will get rid of this. But what I will do in here is find U and NQ chart. I'm sorry, a little disorganized this morning. There we are. Okay. That is a proper NQ chart right there. Okay. So I'm going to pull this all the way in. And if we look back to the left, wow, and there's not enough dates loaded on here, but we'll fix that too. Oh, there should be. Let's see. Why are you only going back a couple months? Let's see if I can fix this. Wow, this is totally frustrating. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can fix this. Number one, this is it. File, close. Wow, I'm having issues here. Let's see if I can fix this, guys. I apologize. File, close. Okay, let's see if that helps things out. There we go. And it simply does not. Okay. I don't know why that is, having such a hard time. Window, and I don't know why. At least that's correct. I don't know why it's not letting me scroll back. But it's very frustrating. So we will do our best without it. Okay. Nonetheless, NQ has not pierced its old high. It closed near the high of the day. It had a trend day up. And obviously, I'm suffering a little bit here because of the, hold on 1 second here. Okay. So we'll go back to the whole process, right? Let's see if we can just start this whole thing from scratch again. Number one. So I would have a couple questions about yesterday in terms of how I'm going to trade it and what the day ended up looking like, right? So number one, we have an potential island reversal right over here, right? We've gapped down, we haven't filled the gap. So my real question is today, we are currently trading at, put this up. Wow, I feel so out of sorts when my computer is not set up properly. I cannot even begin to say. We are trading at 2929 and a quarter, right? That puts us right here. Okay. That is the gap fill over here from Dalton's gap fill. That's what has to be completed, right? That has to be completed and gotten above in order to work to the downside. Okay. Excuse me, in order to work to the upside. Otherwise, you end up with an island reversal, right? Why is this chart? I don't understand why this chart should not be doing this right now at all. And I don't understand what's going on. I have the time set right. Is it in the time zone? Nope. Here, use Chicago time. Let's see if this helps. Ah, there we go. Okay, now it's set. Now I see what the problem is. I'm like, the chart just doesn't look right. We'll save that in a second. Okay, there we go. So key questions for today. Now that we got this fixed, apologies, it just wasn't going to work the other way. There we go. Value area high. We're trading above value area high. What I want to know is, can we get into and close Dalton's gap? There we go. Now everything looks proper. Let's erase this. Here we go. Now I know what the problem is on the NQ chart. I'll fix it. Okay, this area right here is my primary resistance, right? Now, if this is going to end up being an island reversal and we're going to go down, you will not tag 2932 today. It just won't get there. If it gets there, it most likely is no longer a reversal point, right? It was just a quick sell-off, because really what we did is, if you look, we broke out, right? We came back, we backside tested it, right? And now the logical thing is, after the backside test through various patterns, it'll push to the upside. The first key that we're going to push to that upside is we'll come in and we'll do this gap fill, right? We'll hit this gap fill without rejecting from it. We'll just come in, close above. We'll get back inside 2936. The logical target on 2936 is this naked point of control, both from a TPO and a volume point of control. That puts your resistance at roughly 39 to 41 as your resistance above, okay? Above 39 to 41, all you have is an old value area high. It should be able to bust that fairly easily. If you'll look, we had a poor low on the 21st. We obviously cleared through it. We have a good low yesterday. We have a good high from the 21st and a good low from the 24th. So that doesn't make the prediction of whether we'll break one way or the other very easy, other than to say, if we get past the volume point of control at 39.50 to 41, that I would expect that we could push and trend out again, right? On the other hand, if we get below value area high, I'm not very concerned about the point of control, the TPO, and the volume point of control, because you have to make a decision here, right? Obviously, this all ends up being support right through there. So really 2350 to 2550 is support there, right? If we get underneath this, value area low comes up next, consolidation underneath value area low, and the logical target is from this value area high, but really to that TPO point of control, 2916 to 2914. We're trading at 29.29. So if I take away 20 points from where we're trading right now, that puts me down at 29.09, right? Right here. Roughly right here. And the only thing that's down at 29.09 is an untested value area low. This point of control has been tested over. And really, here's the big problem. Once you get past 29.16, see how all the points of control are covered over? It opens it up for a potential trend day down, right? So we'll know that when it happens because we're going to make our trading decisions based on the TPO, the points of control, so on and so forth. Hold on, I got to check one thing. Good, no problem. Okay, so that opens us up for potential trend day down underneath 29.20. Excuse me, underneath 29.14. It's the only thing that hasn't been tested, right? I'm not worried about that because A, we're in a bull market. 29.29 minus 20 will put us down at 29.09. I'm going to assume this value area low down here, because we are in a strong market, is going to hold. There's also an anomaly right there. It's the last anomaly. The bottom of that anomaly is at 29, let's just call it 05, right? I'm looking for the over-under right in here. That's probably my highest odds trade location, right? I'm going to need verification from the deltas and the order flow setup, but that's where I'm looking for a pushback in. On the top side, I am not going to assume we're going to reject on top. If I am looking for a point of rejection, I think my strongest location is probably this 29.39 to 29.41. Why? It gives me a stretch from the close. It pushes me up into the biggest, both where we had the most time spent and the most volume invested. There's trap traders up there, right? And if we're going to reject, that's probably the level that we will reject from. Again, we're generally speaking on a risk-on environment just by virtue of being at the highs, right? You can also, the other sense of having the market go up, now that I can look at NQ and get this thing fixed, here, let me fix this chart real quick. Chart settings. And I can look at, go. So when I drag this chart over, I'm going to push it out. This time it should work. There we go. Okay. When you look at this day yesterday, what happened here, right? NQ gapped up, right? We gapped to the top of the range, closed at the low, gapped down to the bottom of the old base out period, right? If you're going to look at this, look at all the volume that got put in at that low down there. All that volume plus all that time that was invested down there. Of all this entire time going back to 9.6, you only had 2 days that closed, or 3 days that closed above that level, right? Everything else, we spent an enormous amount of time here. So think about that. What does that mean when you spend an enormous amount of time in an area and they don't break it, right? That means anyone who sold is trapped. Anyone who bought is defending, right? Just basic pattern behavior of traders and what they're going to do, right? So think about this for a second because it's very, very important. If we pushed in yesterday on, quote, negative news, which would have been the breakdown in the Chinese-U.S. discussions, right? And that was your negative news. Well, look how they responded on NQ back up, right? Do you really want to be short? Think about this. Do you really want to? It's all right to have a short scalp in there. There's no question that NQ can roll down, right? But think about which side you want to lean on for a bigger trade. Do you want to try to find this out of all these days? Here's your 2 days that closed at the low. I realize we're about to open. I'm going to run over slightly, right? Closed at the low. Closed at the low. Okay, so out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days in this area, right? You got 2 out of 13 that closed on the low. The rest of them either closed at the mid or at the high. Which side of that equation do you want to be leaning on, right? The market participants, everyone you're looking at. So don't think of it as looking at a chart. Think of it as looking at, hey, what is everyone doing, right? What is actually everyone doing? You look around and go, what's the crowd doing? The crowd's buying, right? They're looking for dips and they want to be invested. Larger time frame, smaller time frame. Guys are saying, hey, I'm willing to buy. Not only that, when they do put pressure, right, when they can turn the tables and they do put pressure on this, everyone's saying, hey, put all the pressure you want. We're going to absorb you. This is literally the definition of sell pressure absorption. Down here in the 74.70, 74.50, you can pretty much draw a line on NQ. And if you're not trading below 74.50, look for responsive buyers because these guys are making a statement. They're saying we're willing to absorb any hard selling into this area. We will take it. And what does that usually result in? Accumulation, right? Sideways consolidation. If this were a 5-minute chart, you'd say that is a basing chart and it's ready to make, and it's building energy. and it's ready to break to the upside, is most likely what my assumption would be, unless we get below and hold below 74.50, right? That would be my assumption if I were trading in that area. You take ES strength and you add NQ's consolidating. It's consolidating after making a pretty significant run and has old highs above. Yeah, I'm all right shorting short, like in an intraday setup. I'll take my order flow setups, but I'm not about to go and say, yeah, I'm going to press for a 100-point down day, right? I'm going to go 10, 20, done. Let me look for the long, okay? Just like we did yesterday. So same situation today. ES and NQ are both set up to go hot, to go long. We are gapping out of value. So the first question I'm going through the checklist is, after the first 30 minutes and after the first hour, are we still holding above 29.25 and a quarter, roughly, to 29.26? If we are, I'm going to expect Dalton's gap fill to get hit, followed by a test of the value area low at 29.36, and finally 39.50 to 41, and then I'll reevaluate. Those are my upside targets. When I go look at the order flow from pre-market, right, the first thing that jumps out right out of the gate, chart settings, show them on 24 hours. All this is correct. And do not use global time zone. Use Chicago, please. Okay. See if that fixes things up. There we are. Wow, something's off. Hold on a second here. Let's change this. Chart settings. Condense settings. Chicago. Okay. Let's see if that fixes things. It does. File. Save. Okay. So when I look pre-market, right, and I'm looking at what, first of all, notice, look how big the deltas are pre-market. There's a lot of activity. Clearly, that is your big bar right there, right? On the open, if you are uber aggressive on the short, you're looking for a tap into this 1366, which will pitch your entry at. So I'm giving you the location pre-market if you want to short. It's 29.30.50. Then you have to decide, do you want to use your swing high as your stop, or do you want to use the top of the bar? If it's me and I am shorting this, I'm going to stop it at 29. Of course, now this doesn't have the labels on it. Sorry, guys. I will have to fix the other unit. So I'm looking at 29, 30, 50. Excuse me, 29, 30 and a quarter is my short stop. 33 and that's not right. 32 and a quarter. 32.75. So 30 and a quarter for 32.75 would be my short if I was going to look for the push back in out of the gate. Conversely, if I close above this bar, if I close above with the point of control above on 32 and a quarter, half backside test for the continuation up towards 39. I've got to get past this guy or form a new delta, one of the two, to push up and push out. You've got time. You don't have to try to attack that right out of the gate. There's plenty of time to let that trade set up. I wouldn't feel any pressure whatsoever, right? On NQ, let me give you that number really quick. On NQ, the delta would be this is not highlighting the way I want it to, but that's okay. Actually, like I said, I'd want to be long on a close above 75.80 and a quarter. If a four range bar, let me see this. I need to see a point of control close above. I'm not going to try and pull that chart over because I'm already having so many technical issues. See how we opened up, backside tested and pressed, right? So now we don't have a bigger delta yet. I'm waiting to surpass this delta. I'm telling you, if we get on top of that 32, we should push right to 39 would be my guess. So we'll see if there's actually, if it has the energy. Same thing on NQ. I'm looking for it to get above 75.80 and a quarter. I'll probably try to fish along out of that. And other than that, I don't have anything to add, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I did. I just don't. I'm just waiting patiently to see how it sets up on the day, and then we'll just use our chart, right? Which I don't have integrated yet. So let me see how I'm going to do this. Oh, you know what? I posted the chart, so everyone should have it, right? 29.26 is value area high. I want to see if we close below 29.26 for the bigger picture. The delta set up my smaller picture, right? So as long as you hold that 29.26, and by the way, a test into there, we're looking for any pattern that'll give us a long off this 29.26 to 29.23. And what we're targeting is the 29.39 back above, right? Bigger picture. If you look, test in, push up, right? With your resistance points, meaning the low from the 21st, the value area low that's been untested, and then finally 39.50 to 42. That would be my trade. That's my larger picture trade plan against my smaller picture trade plan. So that's my 2 cents. And we'll go from there. Excuse me just 1 second here. And they're already trying to push NQ up above that. It has not closed yet, but they're trying to push it already above that 80, just FYI. So we'll see if they can do it. They've backside tested it so far. Now we'll see if they can push. I'd be very surprised if they don't push NQ again. I really would. That was trend day up, and you'll usually find responsive buyers behind that the first time in. NQ pushing towards its lows so far. Still. New lows ES, new lows NQ. You can see we have not gotten above nor formed a bigger delta yet. That'd have been a nice short right out of the gate. Remember that 26 is value area high, right? It holds that 26, expect to push out to the upside over the first half hour. Still only in the first 10 minutes of the day. This is still the biggest delta. We haven't replaced it yet. That's resistance up above. You get above and you should go. Again, we've held the value area high, very important. Chop City, guys. Just no direction. That's total chop open auction. The only setup there was the backside test of that big delta and no trade. It's just been Chop City since then. Same thing on NQ. Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't realize everyone was open. There we go. There we are. Sorry about that, Bill. We're just consolidating on top of that 29.26. If we don't get underneath that 29.26, expect a push out, guys. I'd love to see one big delta push down so we can get on top of it and push out. But that, generally speaking, if I were looking for a long or if I was long, I like the consolidation above 29.26 to 29.24. I'm pretty good if I'm generally speaking bigger picture looking at that trade. So I just want to settle into a rhythm, whatever that rhythm is going to be. Again, we just pressed that 29.26 again. right? They don't get underneath that 29.26. We should push back up towards the highs. Same thing on NQ, this 75, 66, 67 area. Right, you're just pushing into the TPO point of control. If you can push out and above 75, 77, you should be able to push to the upside pretty straightforward. Normally, I would just say I would take this 29.26, but I'm going to wait for the deltas to set up. I'm frustrated because this should be showing me. Why isn't this showing me my biggest delta? I'm back to hunting that down. That's frustrating. I will figure that out. Guys, on copper, we have been pressing to the biggest delta of the morning repeatedly. We've traded under and over multiple times. So I'm just waiting until it resets one way or the other. I don't have any trade there. I'm just going to let it go because we've traded through it to the upside. We've backside tested it. We've pushed off. I didn't take the backside test. So now I'm just waiting to see how they're going to resolve this. But pretty quiet open and choppy. Order flow is not telling me to take it yet, but this is support. And NQ is a blender between 80 and 60. We're just flying up and down through that area. We've gone through it since 8:30, 1, 2, 3 times in a 20-point range. So non-directional, you do not want to trade that thing in a non-directional situation. You want to wait till they play their hand out. Let us see the whites of their eyes and then blast them, right? I can afford to wait. We had the best location. That was pre-market. Order flow has told me nothing since then, other than we're testing a key area. Like we are setting up. We've just barely set the biggest delta of the RTH session, and it's relatively small, right? So I can afford to wait through all this. And so far, the process is doing its job, right? Open, location, chop. Wow, I don't know what to say, guys. It's pretty bad. Just relax. There's no movement. There's no counter rotation up or down. We're in essentially a 2 to 3 point range. 2 minutes till top of the hour, expect algos, and then, wow, it may be a very quiet day. Guys, I literally have 0 so far. And NQ almost needs to completely reset. We do have the largest delta down below. The biggest delta is down there between 72 and 68. But it is literally like if you had traded that in the first 30 minutes, I have 1 stop, 2 stops, and now would be working on potentially the 3rd stop. And if you took the backside, closing underneath it, you have multiple stops there as well. It's chop city on that. There's just no reason to take a trade. At least for me, I've got to let it completely reset. So something interesting is going on, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's odd that we just got nothing. I'm looking at the profile. NQ's trying to trying to squeeze above value area high again, right here at this 75.79 ES. Holding the 29.26. Again, I think that, remember, if that 29.32 doesn't get tested, you actually end up with an island reversal up there on top, right? So right now, the biggest delta is at 13.66. That's resistance until something new pops up from a order flow standpoint. That 11.74 is the biggest delta during the US session, but I'm going to defer to that 13.66 pre-market as being the biggest delta. And that's what we have to get above. So if you're playing just the chart, just the TPO, we're holding 29.26 right now, but it's slow and choppy and not a lot of reason to trade it. Nine a.m. And I think I'm going to sign off of YouTube, guys. I got no trade. I've got really nothing to teach. I don't have a trade on copper. We've held support. We've held the biggest delta on copper all morning since. Wow. Let's see what the problem is here. Chart settings. See if this makes a difference. If we can make that work. There we go. Okay. So anyways, guys on YouTube, I'm sorry I was disorganized out of the gate. I was having slight computer issues, but outside of that, I don't have a setup. I don't have an order flow set up. The biggest guy's still upstairs. I need something to set up, and this is chop at best. So I am just in the middle of going to do nothing. If you can manage to swing that range, that 62 to 82 on NQ, I suppose you can make some money there. I don't have a I'm still waiting for a new intraday setup over there if I can get one. If I don't have one, I certainly wouldn't want to get run over in that same area. And I don't have anything on ES. Like, this is just non-participatory type PA. So anyways, I'm going to sign off on YouTube because y'all are sitting around looking at absolutely nothing. There's just nothing to talk about there, and I'll be back tomorrow. Sorry, I'm frustrated. I really would have thought after yesterday that we would have been able to push up, and my concern now is that test, that 29.32 should have been easy, right? That should have been easy to tag. Same thing on NQ. After that trend day up, we should have an easy time getting above and holding above, and it's not. Like, we're just whipsawing through a 20-point range back and forth. So my thought would have been initially push up. Now we're underneath value area at 29.24. We're holding underneath 29.26, and the chart just has to set up again. I mean, really, I don't have anything. So I think I'm going to go drink some coffee, and I'll be back in a little bit. Thank y'all for joining, and I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day.